Good morning. Jacob here. Uh, going to be reading from Psalm 30 today and sharing a few things about David's experience in his life and who Jesus is in his life. And Psalm 30 really exposes the enhancement of David's life with the Lord in it. But I'll start by reading Psalm 30 and then go into a verse by verse and share a few things. So here's Psalm 30. A psalm. It's a song at the dedication of the house, a psalm of David. David's just ecstatic right now in this psalm, and he's looking back. And here, I'll read it for you. I will extol you, O Lord, for you have lifted me up, and have not let my enemies rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cried to you for help, and you healed me. O Lord, you have brought up my soul from Sheol. You have kept me alive, that I would not go down to the pit. Sing praises to the Lord, you his godly ones, and give thanks to his holy name. For his anger is but for a moment, and his favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may last for the night, but a shout of joy comes in the morning. Now as for me, I said in my prosperity, I will never be moved. O Lord, by your favor you have made my mountain to stand strong. You hid your face, I was dismayed. To you, O Lord, I called, and to the Lord I made supplication. What profit is there in my blood, if I go down to the pit? Will the dust praise you? Will it declare your faithfulness? Hear, O Lord, and be gracious to me. O Lord, be my helper. You have turned for me my mourning into dancing. You have loosed my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, that my soul may sing praise to you and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks to you forever. I'm stoked about this psalm. In verse 1, David says, I will extol you, O Lord, for you have lifted me up. Right away, David gives credit. In my notes here, I've got David is giving credit where credit is due. Why is he doing that? David has experienced being lifted up. He knows what it's to be in a low place. We know that from verse 1. And he's saying, I will extol you, O Lord, for you have lifted me up. He's giving credit. He's saying, you have lifted me up. I did not lift myself up out of the pit. I did not lift myself up out of my depression or a slump or anything. You have lifted me up. And he's giving credit where credit is due. Why? Because David fully knows that it wasn't him who pulled him out of the mess or out of a low point in his life or something. And all throughout Psalm 30, David is he's replaying a tape of the faithfulness and who the Lord is in his life. And you see that over and over. He says, I will extol you, O Lord, for you have lifted me up and have not let my enemies rejoice over me. That's past tense. Have not let my enemies rejoice over me. And so David is extolling the Lord, which he's grateful, he's thankful, he's understanding of who it is exactly who's helping him. Verse 2, he says, O Lord, my God, I cried to you for help, and you healed me. David again is saying, hey, everybody, I cried to the Lord for help, and guess what? He healed me. And the Lord knows the inner workings of a man, of every man, woman, and child. There's no one that the Lord doesn't know about. And this verse 2 declares that God is a healing God, and we know that when Jesus walked the earth, everywhere he went, he healed people physically, like the man with the withered hand, the 10 lepers only one of them came back and said thank you. The other 9 went and did their thing, but only one actually came back and said thank you. Jesus healed people emotionally, healed people from bleeding, healed people from raised people from the dead. We know in verse 2 is saying David here is testifying in his own writings, and is saying he's saying that he's declaring that God is a God of healing, and I would testify to that. I've been healed from damaged emotions. Uh, I've been healed in my life and from things in my past, and I'm sure I have a lot more healing to go. But I know that I've experienced the amazing benefits of having a relationship with Jesus Christ. His presence is healing, and he loves taking care of his friends. And I testify to that, as does David. Oh Lord, you have brought up my soul from Sheol. What is Sheol? Sheol is hell. Sheol is another name for hell, or the pit, or the netherworld, the underworld. Oh Lord, you have brought up my soul from Sheol. Um, um, Real quickly, back in verse 2, he says, "O Lord my God," and I have a note here. It says, "Who is your God? Who are you relying on? Is it Jesus? Or is it someone else in your life? Or who is your God?" Remember that God is spirit, and I see all the time that people declare that everything is physical. No. There's a real spiritual world, and God is spirit, and He dwells in the spiritual world. Verse 3, David is recalling again. O Lord, you have brought up my soul from Sheol. You have kept me alive, that I would not go down to the pit. David is speaking to this probably physically and spiritually. He's had a lot of physical battles in his life. He's a warrior, and also spiritually speaking, that the Lord is keeping him alive. And he's very thankful and very glad for this, to have another day. We're not guaranteed tomorrow for anybody. And David here is saying, thank you, I extol you, you are my God, you are amazing and awesome, and thank you for letting me not go down to the pit. Thank you for allowing me to be alive, and you've kept me alive. You've preserved me. We've seen in the Psalms the word preserve is continually in the Psalms. And David is giving credit where credit is due. And he's just sharing, I think, he's just exposing, this psalm exposes what a relationship with Jesus Christ looks like. Jesus Christ is amazing. He totally blesses and enhances and helps people's lives for the better. He's a giver. He gives life, and he enhances life, and he gives relationships, and he just blesses and he blesses and he blesses. And don't take my word for it. Look what it says here in verse 5. For his anger is but for a moment, his favor is for a lifetime. His favor is for a lifetime. That is true. Like, the Lord has the ability to get anger. His wrath can flare up in a moment, but it doesn't. It only. That's just it. It's just for a moment. Like, get your stuff in order, What are you doing? Get your stuff in order. That may be like an anger, like you've done something really terrible, There's always forgiveness, like a loving father. But in verse 5, it says his favor is for a lifetime. I can testify in my life. The Lord has just blessed me and blessed me and blessed me and given to me and helped me and recovered me and financially supported me and made himself known to me in my life and blessed me over and over and over. And I can testify to that. How much my relationship with Jesus means to me. And David probably does here as well. We probably couldn't see his face. We can't see his face, obviously, when he was writing this. Weeping may last for the night, but a shout of joy comes in the morning. You got troubles when you go to sleep, give them to the Lord, cast them on the Lord, cast all your care, your anxiety on Him because He cares for you, and ask for a deep rest, deep sleep. David does that continually, surrounded by a mob, just surrounded by people that want to kill his life, and he has a great sleep. He goes to sleep and he sleeps great. And then he wakes up, and then there's a verse here, but a shout of joy comes in the morning. Why? How on earth can a shout of joy come in the morning? Because of the presence of Jesus, a relationship with Jesus. Jesus is not some historical figure. He's resurrected from the dead. He's alive, and he's there for anyone who wants to have a relationship with him. And he's not like something that happened a long time ago. He's still available. And the denial of that in Psalm 14:1 is a fool says in his heart there is no God. And it's really sad the fool doesn't get to experience a relationship with Jesus. I have a friend. He's a total mess. He's messed up his whole life. He's drugs and alcohol. He's a total mess. He's a total sinner through and through. And he'll tell you too. He's messed up so bad. But when you hang out with this friend, I wish I could show him to you. His life is totally enhanced, and his life is hilarious, and his life is almost just downright comical because and he'll tell you, and it's because Jesus is in his life now, and he's healing him, and he's putting him through testings, and he's playing with him, and he's just blessing him. He's giving him, for him, it's not for everybody, but for him, a dog means a lot to him, and that's just one of the ways that his life has been enhanced and blessed since the Lord has come into his life. And it's really beautiful as a friend of him to witness such a thing. I'll keep going here. Verse 6, now as for me, I said in my prosperity, I will never be moved. O Lord, by your favor, you have made my mountain to stand strong. David is giving credit where credit is due. He's understanding that it is the Lord's favor. Remember, favor lasts for a lifetime in verse 5. His favor lasts for a lifetime. The Lord will not give up on you. No matter how far you go, no matter what happens, just keep seeking His face. And in my prosperity, the Lord, David is prosperous. You know, we see in Psalm 1, I go back to Psalm 1, and whatever he does prospers. Blessed is the man who read Psalm 1 again. It's beautiful. Prosperity comes from the Lord. I'm not preaching prosperity gospel, but David here is prosperous in his life, obviously monetarily, but obviously in so many other ways. It doesn't necessarily mean only monetarily, but David is acknowledging that, hey, this is all because of the Lord. And I'm reminded of Job. Look at Job is like, he was blessed and had everything that this life could offer, and the Lord took it from him. His friends were like, what's up with that? And he's like, the Lord gave me that. Is it not His to take away? Or, can He not give the one and the other? Like trouble and trials and things to go through. But anyway, I'll skip back here to verse 6 and 7. Oh Lord, by your favor you have made my mountain to stand strong. David's life is in order, it's strong, and his enemies are not rejoicing over him, and that's not because of anything he's done. It's because of the Lord. It's because of Jesus in his life. Get to know Jesus. To you, O Lord, I called, and to the Lord I made supplication. David is calling all of the Psalms. He's always calling out to the Lord. If he's in trouble, he's calling out to the Lord. If he's happy, he's calling out to the Lord. If he's blessed, he's calling out to the Lord. If he's got people attacking him, he's calling out to the Lord. He's always, 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 always turning to the Lord and going to the Lord. Verse 9, what profit is there in my blood if I go down to the pit? Will the dust praise you? Will it declare your faithfulness? David is saying, keep me alive. Let me praise you some more. Let me live more life. He's just enjoying the relationship and just being alive on earth and having his time on earth, and he's enjoying who Jesus is in his life. We see David's life, and it's a mess. Enemies, gloom, in the pit, despair, and then when Jesus and him join up, and Jesus comes into his life and helps him and answers prayer, and his life is amazing. He wants to live more. That's it for today. Enjoy.